Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to Sanasspace. Yeah, I haven't been here in the longest, but a lot has happened and I'm back and ready to bring some content. So yeah, in this video, we're going to be discussing what's going on in Africa, why is Africa bleeding. Over the past month, we've had a lot of protests, a lot of activism on social media, loads of hashtags, and just a lot genuinely going on throughout the continent. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what's going on, focusing on Nigeria, Congo, Cameroon, Namibia, and Mozambique. I know a lot is going on throughout the continent, but to keep this video as snappy and as info-packed as possible, I'm just going to be focusing on these 5. Just a quick disclaimer. All the information that I have gathered and will be speaking about today are all objective and from online sources. This is merely a video just to talk about what's going on, give awareness, share places to donate, and to encourage people to do some research. That's it. So without further ado, let's start. You may or may not have seen the hashtag End SARS on social media, on your social platforms, but basically Nigerians have been calling to end SARS and end police brutality. The SARS stands for Nigeria's Special Anti-Robbery Squad and is an arm of Nigeria's police force set up in 1992 to help combat rising violent crimes such as kidnapping, armed robbery, and other violent crimes. But instead, there's been several allegations of extortion, rape, harassment, and irrational profiling, where SARS members are notoriously known for allegedly stopping people with features as simple as dreadlocks, piercings, an iPhone, expensive car, and immediately assuming that you are part of or have obtained these goods through illicit means such as like fraud, drugs, etc. So if you get stopped for any of these reasons, you're going to have to pay up, or it's abuse, basically. And there have been a number of SARS protests since 2016, but what sparked up recent protests was a video of a SARS member allegedly killing a young Nigerian in the Delta state, which went viral on social media, hence mass protests. So as the End SARS movement began to get a lot of international attention, on the 20th of last month, Nigeria was put under a 24-hour national curfew. But before this curfew came into place, people were still protesting. At 7 p.m. that day, there were reports of gunfire being shot at peaceful protesters at the Lekki tollgate. Amnesty International say that 12 people died at the scene. However, there are no official statistics for this. And this day is being labelled as the Lekki massacre. So generally, I feel like the End SARS movement has gained the most international attention with celebrities such as Burna Boy, Tiwa Savage, Beyonce, Anthony Joshua, you name it, all calling out for the End SARS movement. And also a lot of protests has been happening all around the world, with people protesting in the UK, in South Africa, etc., all in solidarity with Nigeria. The hashtag Congo is bleeding has also been trending alongside End SARS in what people are calling a silent genocide, as a lot of people have been killed and many more displaced due to the aftermath of brutal fighting from armed rebel groups in the eastern regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Though the reason or the reasons behind this are very multifaceted, the current uproar is mostly centered around the abundance of resource which Congo has, which is being stolen from under Congo. Now, Congo is blessed with a lot of natural resources, be it gold, rubber, tin, coca, diamonds, you name it, Congo's got it. However, the most important resource, especially during this era of everyone having iPhones, technology advancement this, AI that, hydroelectric power this and that, is cobalt, and Congo has 50% of the world's supply. So what's been happening is armed groups from neighbouring countries such as Rwanda, Uganda and Burundi have been going into eastern parts of Congo and terrorising communities. The UN says 4.5 million people are internally displaced in Congo, whilst a further 800,000 have had to seek refuge in neighbouring countries. It's also alleged that these armed groups, which own majority of the mines in the eastern area, are enslaving men, women and children to work for little or no pay. And the UN says that there are about 40,000 child labourers on there, with some of the children as young as 4. People are also calling for multinational tech and aircraft companies to be held accountable because cobalt and the Congo are most definitely within their supply chains. Also, this is a big wake-up call to Western consumers like myself and to you if you're watching from the West, to think about how swift and how often we buy gadgets from iPhone, Samsung, on other electronic companies, because what it then does is encourage companies to keep the price of cobalt down, which means 1, miners not going to get paid, and 2, conflict is going to be encouraged in the region so that cobalt can continue to be looted from Congo. Okay, so Cameroon's Anglophone crisis. Over the past 3 years, there's been a spike in attacks in Cameroon's Anglophone regions between government forces and separatist groups. This is due to complaints that the Anglophone regions or English-speaking regions are being marginalised from the French-speaking Muslim majority, where conflicts between separatist groups and government forces have left at least 3,000 people killed since October 2017. So what sparked recent protests is an attack in a bilingual school on the 24th of last month in Komba, southwest Cameroon, where 8 children were killed and 12 were injured. Though no one's actually claimed responsibility for this, there has been a lot of conflict throughout the years between separatist groups and country forces. So the people of Cameroon are protesting both on and offline to end the Anglophone crisis once and for all. But reports are also saying that protesters are being met with a lot of police brutality, with peaceful protesters being shot at and police conducting a lot of brutal arrests. The pandemic has also exacerbated the issue, as Cameroon is one of the worst hit countries in Central Africa, with 22,000 cases since March, which has also led to a rise in crime as well. So generally, the Anglophone crisis has caused a huge humanitarianism issue in the region, with schools closed, 700,000 people internally displaced, and a further 50,000 people needing to seek refuge in other countries since 2017. In Namibia, people are calling for an end to gender-based violence and femicide. Over the years, there has been consistent violent attacks against women in Namibia, with the police handling at least 200 cases each month since last year. But what sparked recent protests was the disappearance of a 22-year-old called Shannon Wassafall. She was reported missing in April, and last month, October, is when they found her body lying in like a shallow grave. So this obviously sparks massive protests both in Namibia and worldwide, with people demanding change and a state of emergency. So the slogan being used is "shut it down" or "shut it all down," with the logic being that if women can't live safe and feel safe in Namibia, then no one should. Also, during protests, another lady aged 27 was also killed by her boyfriend, which also fueled more frustration within the Namibian public and within social media worldwide. That is a problem within Namibia. There is a lot of gender-based violence, and it's also the problem in South Africa, I believe. They've also had a lot of protests going on there due to a lot of femicide and gender-based violence, particularly between domestics, so basically within relationships. Finally, in Mozambique, last week 50 people were beheaded and killed in the northern regions of Mozambique, in a region called Cabo Delgado. They were killed by an armed group who kind of claimed allegiance to the Islamic State. Incidents were that the terrorist group had captured people within a village within that region and driven them to a football pitch where they beheaded all of them. There were at least 20 men and boys within that group who all died all in that instance. And this attack is one of several that have been unfolding in the Cabo Delgado region since 2017, where the beheadings have been taking place and unrest have captured the lives of over 2,000 people since 2017. The terrorist groups has also succeeded in kind of taking control of the region, which is again resource rich in gas reserves. Though saying this, is currently unclear what the terrorist agenda currently is, because they haven't said what they're after. Usually when terrorists commit attacks, they do their attacks and then they start speaking out, we want this, we want to control this, we want this amount of money, we want this and that, but they haven't done that yet. So some speculate that it's like religion based, so they want to take control of like the Muslim majority area, whereas others are saying that it's more kind of poverty driven and inequality driven, because since these gas reserves have been found, the people of that region haven't benefited from it. So people are kind of saying that's the reason for this, which is why the number of people who have pledged allegiance to this terrorist group are growing. So that's kind of what people are speculating around that. So that's it for today's video. I know a lot's also going on in Ethiopia with the Tigray conflict, but you know, I've just covered these 5 just to keep this video as snappy as possible. But hopefully you've got a brief overview of what's going on in Africa and why Africa is bleeding. There will be petitions and places to donate below. But for now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. I can't ever say subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.